I'm so glad that you're able to join me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'd like your ideas about the future of office space and the conversations that you're having with your clients.
What's really interesting about COVID is it shut down the commercial real estate market basically across the board, maybe save and except for industrial. Just like instantly, like we snapped our fingers and like we were in the hottest markets in the world, like Toronto being one of them.
Yeah.
And the whole thing just like stopped. At first it was really unnerving, but now I think it is really, really positive for our industry because I think it's shone a light on some of the inefficiencies in the way that office is delivered. There were a lot of trends that were surfacing pre-COVID that perhaps might have taken a decade to start to see some real change. What's really positive about it is we're going to fast track a lot of the changes that were happening, and we're going to evolve our industry to sort of be more customer centric. A lot more companies than not say that they're going to be digital and remote, all the way from startups through to the likes of like Twitter, Facebook, Shopify. We are all recognizing that there is no longer this sort of expectation that I'm going to go to an office to perform all of my productivity related tasks. There's so many of these tasks that can be done from different settings, whether that's your home or whether that's a productive space that's closer to where you live or where you want to be. Everyone is sort of realizing that the office is ultimately going to be a place that they want to go to, not necessarily a place that they need to go to.
In the conversations that I've had with designers, so much more emphasis on why go to the office, why are we working, why are we doing the work that we're doing, and how are those answers going to be reflected in design? And what do those conversations look like from an office leasing perspective?
Most clients are really just trying to recalibrate on what their needs are going to look like over the next, like, let's say 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
At the most, right? Really, maybe even like 1 to 3 years. Unfortunately, from that perspective, there's not really a lot that they can do to change their strategy in that time frame. Small companies are reactive, so it's on us as an industry to evolve the product offering to better suit what they want, which is turnkey and flexibility, right? That's what they want. And then on the big organization side, I still think it's on us to help facilitate that same outcome for at least a portion of a larger enterprise's real estate footprint. But I think they will also reinvest in their major hubs in a much different way. It's just going to take time because they hold obligations that preclude them from being able to just snap their fingers and make change.
Highly creative industries kind of need to be together. It's hard to do a lot of that really high level work on a Zoom call. You need to feel each other out. You need that company culture to make that kind of collaboration fly.
Place, yeah. I'll give you like a personal example. I want to like be motivated to put on clothing that is not my sweatpants. Do you know what I mean? And like I do it because I want to feel good, but I want to go somewhere so that like I feel like I bought these clothes for a reason, right? Like even if I want to perform a heads down task, I don't necessarily want to do that from my house. I want more choice. I don't really want to be forced to go to the same location all the time just because I'm supposed to do that. Employee choice is going to be central. Yeah. And I just think that we have to understand that the product offering really needs to be more customer centric. I'm a firm believer that you should be building a hospitality and flexible lease strategy into your development. Because by doing it at the front end, that's what's going to give occupiers the best opportunity to plan out the rest of the way that they are going to integrate into the building. I always like to draw the correlation to WeWork. They have a very flawed business model, in my personal opinion. They sourced capital in the wrong way, and I think that they were a little bit too bullish on leasing space at the top end of the market in a lot of the biggest cities in the world, so they didn't really make themselves very recession-proof from that perspective. But what they did get right is they did provide a product offering that provided the brand, the culture, the flexibility, and the sort of turnkey nature of that product, that for the first time in delivering office, we saw a product that the customer really wanted to buy. People really wanted more service and they wanted more flexibility. And I think when it comes to office space, we're moving into a hospitality era, whether our industry really wants to accept it or not.
Creating a new lease, how do people plan spatially for that amidst COVID?
I think it really depends on the level of sophistication of the organization, where you're at in your sort of growth trajectory as a business. So like companies that are, several hundred people all the way through to like thousands of people, they're really trying to come up with a strategy for all of this. And I think it looks really different if, like, let's say you're a tech company of 200 people. You probably know that, like, your youngest employees that are in like shoebox apartments that derive a lot of their social interactions from being at work, maybe we'll flow 25% of our staff into the space, give the opportunity for those people to be there, have enough space that we can create distance with our existing footprint if we just don't bring too many people back in. I've heard some companies toggling around with a density model and a physical layout model that might allow for people to not have to wear masks. If you're like a big bank and you're thinking you're bringing people back into the office, well, you're going to be like super diligent and regimented about it. So I don't think those bigger organizations are rushing themselves back in, but clearly it results in less density. I think there's a lot of organizations that are just basically going to try and make use of the space they have and keep everybody safe while still trying to keep costs down, basically, because we're still going to be in a recessionary kind of world for the next 2 years, 18 months, who knows?
Poker.
Yeah.
To change gears.
Poker.
So before you got into this real estate mess, you were playing poker for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be interested to know how your experience with poker and at the level that you played has helped you in the career you're in now.
Played poker for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I played at a pretty high level, actually, both online and in person. I was definitely more of a known entity online, but I did have a backer that allowed me the opportunity to play up to $10,000 buy-ins anywhere around the world. I definitely really regret that I didn't travel more because I just didn't feel confident enough to go out on my own and do it. I think it's helped in multiple ways. Financially, like, it was not uncommon for me to be up 100,000 or down 100,000 over the spread of a couple months. It's just like a very alternate universe most people wouldn't have the ability to kind of learn from. I'm glad that I did, because I'm in a brokerage business that's 100% commission. It was a normal thing for me to lose about 80 or 85% of the time I actually sat down to play. And in the 15, 20% of the time that I made money out, that was maybe what was going to make up for losses. So when, like, I was interviewing in this industry, they're like, are you good with like 100% commission? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like, you mean I just, like, I'm neutral at the end of the day? Like, I go home and like I haven't lost money? Mm-hmm. That's like way better than what I'm accustomed to. So that, I think that really helped me. And then, you know, on the interpersonal side, I very much approached it from like that more intuitive EQ. I honed and developed those kinds of skills. In the context of our industry, you're sitting across the table from people. You need to get them to like you, trust you, and want to work with you quickly. Focusing and honing in on those skill sets really helped me fast track myself in this industry. And then the thing that was really cool about it is like that you are expected to lie to people. Like, that's what you're expected to do, right? Like, you're sitting at a table with someone, you can make friends with them, but when you're playing in a hand, it's understood that you're supposed to lie to them and they're supposed to lie to you. And there's something that's very honest about that, which I really liked. Like, in poker, you're just trying to beat somebody. Like, your win is their loss. But in business, you can broker a situation where multiple sides win. And I think that's awesome because you can use the same skill sets to achieve a beneficial outcome for multiple parties. So those are some of the things I think that have helped me.
Well, what are you going to do when you get out of COVID?
I don't know how long it's going to be before we get out of COVID. So I don't know if I've really thought about it that way, but as soon as I can travel and it's perhaps deemed to be safe to travel, I would love to go to Costa Rica with my family. We love Costa Rica. Mm. We actually have always wanted to buy a property in PEI. Mm. And this has really just made us want to buy a property there even more, because I think that we're all going to be spending a little bit more time in our own countries and our own sort of geographies.
That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you get to Costa Rica soon.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. Thanks so much.